Hello and welcome to today's math class, Generalizing Addition. What the heck does that mean? Well, yesterday, we were generalizing subtraction, which was taking away. Today, we're generalizing addition, which is adding. Remember over here, look at that. Right over there is the plus sign. That means we add things together. That means we increase. And so now we're going to be working with a simple formula, 2 plus 1. What does that equal? We'll have two objects and add one more object, and we will see together what happens. 2 plus 1 more. Now watch this. Look, I have two objects. 1, 2, and they're orange caps. I have 2 orange caps. Now watch, I'm going to add 1 more. Here's another orange cap. We counted 2. 1, 2. Now I'm going to add 1. 2 adding 1. That was just like our formula. Now let's count. How many caps do we have now? We have 1, 2, 3 caps. We had 2 caps. 1, 2. We added 1 more cap. And now we have 1, 2, 3 caps. Let's look at our formula. 2 caps plus 1 cap equals, let's count them, 1, 2, 3. 2 caps plus 1 cap equals 3 caps. Okay. Now, that's caps. Let's see what happens when we try something else. Look. Now I have green pears. I have 1 and I have 2. 2 green pears, just like our formula. What happens when I add another green pear? So let's look at our formula. Our formula says I have 2 and I add 1 more. How many do I have? I had 2, 1, 2, and I'm adding 1 more. Now how many do I have? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3. I had 2, I added 1, and now I have 3. 2 plus 1 is 1, 2, 3. So let's look at our formula. 2 plus 1 equals 3. Look at that. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? Whoops. Let's try it again. I have 2 red breakfast bars. 1, 2, just like our formula says 2. I have 2. I'm going to add 1 more. Here is 1 more breakfast bar. I add that in. Now how many do I have? 1, 2, 3 breakfast bars. I had 2 breakfast bars. 1, 2. I added 1 more breakfast bar, and I had 1, 2, 3 red breakfast bars. Just like our formula, I had 2, then I added 1 more, and now I have 3. Well, let's see what happens when I have yellow breakfast bars. 1, 2. I have 2 yellow breakfast bars. I wonder what will happen if I add a third yellow breakfast bar. I have 1, 2. My formula says I'm going to add 1 more. I'm adding 1 more. Now let's count them all together. Altogether, I have 1, 2, 3 yellow breakfast bars. So look at that. I had 2. I added 1 more, and now I have 3. Isn't it amazing how that works? Well, let's see. Let's see what happens when I have blue breakfast bars. I have 1, 2 blue breakfast bars. Just like our formula says, I have 2 blue breakfast bars. I'm going to add 1 more. Adding 1 more breakfast bar. Now, how many blue breakfast bars do I have? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3 breakfast bars. I had 2. Just like our formula, I'm adding 1 more, and now I have 1, 2, 3 breakfast bars, even though they're blue. Isn't that amazing? Now, we've been doing everything looks the same. What happens when we use our formula, but we do things differently? Let's say I have a red and a yellow breakfast bar. They're different colors, but I still have 2 of them. Let's count them. 1, 2. Now, what happens when I add another yellow breakfast bar? Let's look at our formula. I had 2 breakfast bars, even though they're different colors, red and yellow. I'm adding 1 more yellow breakfast bar. Now let's look at these and let's count them. 1, 2, 3. I have 3 breakfast bars. Even though they're different colors, I still get the same answer. 2 plus 1 equals 3. Now let's try this some more on some different things. If I have a blue breakfast bar, 2, and another blue breakfast bar, but that's 2. What happens if I add a red breakfast bar? Look, I had 2, 1, 2, but now I'm adding a red breakfast bar, not another blue one, but a red one. Now, how many do I have? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness, look. I had 2 breakfast bars, even though they're different colors, and I added another breakfast bar, and the answer is still 3. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now, let's see what happens if we add some different things together. 2 plus 1. Let's see if I have an orange thingy, 1, and a green pair, that's 2. We count them 1, 2, just like my formula says. I have 2 things. They can be anything you want. I have 2 things. And then let me see. 2 things. And I'm going to add a third thing. Let's add a red breakfast bar. And let's count them. We have 1, 2, 3 things. So look at that. I had 2 things, which was just a pear and an orange cover. And I added one more thing over here, a red breakfast bar. And now I have 3 things. Let's count them together. 1, 2, 3. So even though they're different, I had 2 things and I added one more thing, and the answer is still 3. 2 plus 1 equals 3, even when they're different things. Let's try that again with something even differenter. I'm going to say 2 things. Let's count 2 things. I'm going to put a pen there, and we'll put a chocolate bunny there. I wonder if it will still work the same way. Let's count how many things we have. We have 1, 2. So just like our formula, we have 2 things, even when they're not the same thing. Now let's see what happens when we add a third thing. Here is a chapstick. I'm going to add one thing, which is called a chapstick. Let's look at our formula again. I have 2 things, a pen and a chocolate bunny, and I add one more thing, chapstick. Now let's count them together and see what we have total. 1, 2, 3. Even though they're different things, when we counted 2 things plus 1 thing, we still got the answer 3. This is called generalizing. Even though some things are different, other things remain the same. Even though our 2 things are different, 2 still means the same thing. Let's try one more example. I have a bunny, and a remote control. I have 2 things. 1, 2. Let's see. 2 things, and I'm going to add one more thing, and we will see what happens to our formula. Now I will add a flash drive. It's a green flash drive, and I'll put it right there where we can see it. Now let's count them together. I had 2 things, a bunny and a remote control. 2. and I added one more thing, a thumb drive. Now let's count them and see how many things we have. We have 1, 2, 3 things. We had 2 things. We added one more, and we ended up with 3 things. 2 plus 1 equals 3. Look at that. We just proved it by using different objects. 3. 2 plus 1 equals 3. No matter how many different objects we use, when we have 2 objects and we add one more object, we have 3. That's called generalizing. When the same answer is true, but different parts are different. 2 different things plus another thing will equal 3 when we add it together. So thank you for joining me in my lesson. I hope this makes some sense to you, and we'll do some more generalizing next week. I like this. It's kind of fun for me, generalizing and learning how different things are the same. It's just amazing. It's a miracle, and that's what math is all about. Bye. See you later.